Right.
Honestly, that would have been impossible for anyone to follow. Bringing us back in after a rock show like that was difficult. So give a hand to Cecilia for getting back up here, bringing us back into some more traditional stand-up comedy for the rest of the evening. You guys still having a good time tonight? I think, you know what? I think it's about time for Hot Cat to invest in something. Just anything, really. Chairs might be good. I think I'm gonna write that on the note. I think we should invest in some chairs because we're getting popular here, and that's all thanks to you guys coming out supporting Beijing comedy. This next comedian, it's his second time here at Hot Cat. Give him a warm welcome, Jesse Appell.
Jesse Appell, walking up to the stage for the second time.
So, I just got back to China. Oh, this is not going to happen, is it? Oh, there we go. I just got back to China about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And last week I came to Hot Cat and I did not intend to perform, but they pushed me on stage anyway. I didn't prepare anything. And this week the exact same thing has happened, so my apologies in advance if things seem a little ill-prepared. But China, of course, is the place to gather just great life humor in general, just because the things happen here are so goddamn crazy. I remember though that the greatest thing about moving back though is that I have the money now to just be able to move into just a regular apartment. It's nothing fancy. But this is opposed to last summer when I had $3,000 to get me a plane ticket here and back from the US to Boston, and also had to live 3.5 months. So that's not money at all, and so I told my Chinese friend, hey, let's find a place, let's room together, we'll save money, just find the cheapest place you can. He said, find the cheapest place I can? I'm like, yeah, find the cheapest place you can, no problem, it's like 3 months. He's like, alright. So I show up, he gives me the address. I show up, it's this like run-down 4-story building in Liaomaqiao. And I go up there, it's all dirty, I go up the stairs, there's like 3 inches of dust. I feel like I'm on the moon. Walking up the stairs, leaving footprints. I get up to the 4th floor. There's an iron gate in front of the regular door because all the apartments have those iron gates, like they're expecting people to just come in crazy and just ram it in. So I knock on the door, and this old Beijing lady looks at me. She's like, I'm like, like I'm moving in here. And I find out later, and Li Tao, my Chinese friend, did not tell me, that he tried in vain for 4 times to find somebody who would take in a foreigner to live with them for a short period of time. No one was taking it. Eventually, he just didn't tell them at all that I was a foreigner. So this white guy shows up at her door in the middle of the night, like on the 4th floor of this building, just takes me in. She said, oh, okay, I guess you're the new roommate, leads me in. I go in there, the place is just packed with stuff. She's accumulated stuff for 60-odd years, and it's just everywhere. And there's incense here, and there's like a bedroom there, but there's a bunk bed, and the bunk bed's full of stuff. There's stuff here, and there's stuff there, and I'm walking through, and I'm like, okay, which one of these rooms full of stuff is my room? She's like, that's your Open up the door. I walk in. Room's tiny. The entirety of the room is taken up by one fairly large bed. And I look at that one bed and I say, well, I guess I'm sleeping with Li Tao for 3 months. Because there was only one bed, and he also neglected to tell me that. So, look, and that's actually, you know, I didn't have any money, that's actually what happened. That's the funny part of the story, is it's actually what we did. So, we stayed on there for 3 months, and that was fun, but I wasn't done yet. My first day at this apartment had not finished yet, because I had closed the door behind me, and I turn around and I say, this apartment was pretty cheap because what they couldn't afford was a doorknob on the inside of the door. And I took a look, and there was a lock. And there was a lock, like just a sliding lock, but there was no knob. And the door was made of roughly hewn wood. And when it got hot, like it was that day in the summer when I arrived, the door swelled. And if you closed the door too hard, which I later found out to avoid, the door would just shut, and there was no way out. So I had just been here for 5 minutes and hadn't really even met my new landlady, and I was clawing at the inside of the door, just trying to get out, and I couldn't. So I had to say, oh, 居民往房东可以帮忙开门。 she's like, why would you need help opening the door? So she argues with me for about 2 or 3 minutes that I can't possibly want to open the door. And I have to convince her, no, no, no. And that's great. And so she gets in the door. I'm like, okay, I'm getting used to this place now. I don't have to close the door. That's all looking good. And so she looks at me and she's like, you know what? I'm going to try to befriend this guy. This is going to work out good. And she goes into her room and she's like, home. I got something to show you. She goes in, she takes out this flower. And at first I thought she was giving it to me, but actually she's just showing me her like arts and crafts day. It's like it's a wire flower and it's made of, there's all this mesh on it, like it's a colorful mesh. She's like, hold on. No, but here's the best part. She goes over to her cabinet from all the stuff. She pulls out a bottle of perfume. And the perfume is labeled Absolute Man. And she takes the perfume and she just pulls out a bottle of perfume. And the perfume is labeled Absolute Man. And she takes the perfume and she just douses the flower with this absolute man flavor. And soon the room smells like man, and the flower smells like man, and everything smells like man. And I'm just like, oh yeah, that's great. For the hum, yeah, that's great, awesome. Like, holy shit. That's just, okay. And then that would have been bad, but then I could start hearing chirping. I'm like, oh my god, is there like a bird? There's a bird's nest in here, isn't there? And then I'm like, no, the chirping's coming out from the porch. And I look out and I say, what's going on here? So like, are those birds on the porch? She's like, yeah, we got birds. And I go over the porch, and sure enough, there's like 50 pigeons in the porch, just like behind the double layered wall, like the double layered window. There's just like 50 pigeons. They're just stuck in there. They're everywhere. They're flying everywhere. I'm like, what are they for? She's like, they're for racing. They're for racing. Yeah, they're racing pigeons. But yeah, the matches are on the spring, so now they just live on the porch. I'm like, that's great. I'm really interested in pigeons. She's like, yeah. In America, do you have pigeons? Do people keep pigeons? I'm like, no, people don't usually keep pigeons. That's not something we usually do. She's like, why not? I'm like, well, in America, pigeons are wild, and people don't have them as pets. She's like, well, if they're wild, you could catch them. I'm like, well, yeah, we don't catch them. Yeah, just let them be. She's like, she gives me this look. If you wanted to. Don't give me that look. And I'm like, of all the things I could like become the lazy American for, it's because I don't go out to the park with a net and catch my own pigeons. Thank you very much. Yeah!